quick line, that's it. It is a beautiful thing. Look at that.
Welcome to Culinary Delights, where we look over some recipes and all the things that you need to feed all your hungry boys. Amanda, I hear you've got a great recipe for us to look at today. So
I've got a great recipe for us today, Lilith. So this recipe I brought today comes from the Better Homes and Gardens. It's a classic 1978 recipe.
Oh, yeah.
We dug from the annals of classic recipe. This is from Better Homes and Gardens, 1978. And it's a nice, simple recipe that you can make to feed your hungry boys.
Oh, those hungry boys are getting fed, yeah.
We're all busy and we're all working so hard, and we're cooking and the cleaning, and we gotta keep them fed. We gotta get them ready for soccer practice. We can't have grumpy. Can't have a couple grumpy Gusses. We need some happy Henrys.
Exactly. What am I feeding the hungry boys this week?
This is called Reuben Chowder, and
Y'all
heard of the Reuben sandwich?
Oh, stop!
Take the Reuben sandwich and turn it into a soup, and then you got a meal to feed your hungry boys. You have got
to warn me about this. Come on.
Wait till you try it as a soup. Have you ever eaten a Reuben sandwich and been like, I wish this was a soup?
No, I've never done that.
And then I could drink this.
I think that in the future, I just need to meditate before we film Culinary Delights, because I was not prepared for this. I was not prepared for this at all.
I don't know how you're not prepared for every episode we do. The only thing that would come as a surprise would be that it's not this ridiculous.
Okay. All right. I'm ready.
We're going to start out with our ingredients. 3 cups of milk. 3 cups of milk. We're talking 1.5 pints of milk goes in this soup. Mm-hmm. So we're right. We've got milk soup. Who doesn't want that?
Oh, yeah.
1 10.5 ounce can of condensed cream of celery soup. Now, we have discussed yes?
We have discussed this before. Why is there no brand name? This is a failure of so epic proportions.
It isn't. And I'll explain to you why. Because this is from Better Homes and Gardens, which they, in and of themselves, are a brand. And when you are the Campbell's Soup Company coming up with a recipe, you're going to include your company's ingredients. Like, you're going to whoa, we want Campbell's
cream of
can of condensed cream. We all know this is a can of Campbell's soup. They can't come out and say it because they didn't collaborate. This is 1978. This is
before synergy.
This is when the companies were in where this was the healthy spirit of competition that we were told about.
Sure.
Before all the corporations got together and decided to meld into one whole big homunculus mess. They can't say Campbell's cream of celery soup. We all know that it's Campbell's cream of celery. What else are you gonna get? Are you gonna get a Swanson's?
I just learned.
Like it's store brand.
I just learned just now that there was a thing called cream of celery soup.
Really? You didn't know that?
Why would anyone? I'm amazed that people eat celery at all, much less cream of celery.
You don't like celery?
No, celery's disgusting.
Celery's delicious.
First of all, now I know you're lying because it has no flavor.
No,
so
I'm serious now. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. I love celery. I would eat celery every day. It's so good for you and it's so tasty. You get that crisp, fresh celery in your mouth and you just chew on it. It's got the subtle taste of this little subtle sweetness. It's so wonderful. You're not the first person I've met that doesn't like the taste of celery, you know.
Who are you?
I'm Amanda Bonanza for Culinary Delights. I'm a mom. I got my 3 hungry boys, and I got my husband Fred. And we're here to tell you about this wonderful Reuben chowder soup.
All right.
So we got 3 cups of milk.
Uh-huh.
We got a 10.5-ounce can, which is just a normal can of any brand of condensed cream of celery soup.
Yeah.
Half ounce of it's a half cup, 2 ounces. So 2 ounces, a half a cup of shredded processed Swiss cheese. They also can't say the brand.
Not real Swiss cheese. Don't go to the fancy part
use real
and
Swiss
shred
cheese.
Real Swiss cheese. Get the processed stuff.
It has to be processed. It has
to be the
cheese.
process.
You cannot use. Like if you went and got like a nice Swiss cheese from Switzerland, like a cheese shop at like a fromagerie, and you put that in this soup, it would be ruined. It would be terrible. It would be a terrible taco.
You'd ruin that cheese.
Ruin the whole recipe.
You'd ruin that cheese, and you'd ruin your soup.
Because there's a process. The cheese has to go through the process.
The cheesing process.
What it is.
Okay.
1 16-ounce can of sauerkraut, drained and snipped.
What does snipped mean?
I'm confused by that as well. Does that mean you're supposed to drain the sauerkraut and then take each individual strand and cut off the end of each thing of sauerkraut? Because that doesn't seem like an easy thing for you hungry boys.
No, I'm trying to save time. I'm not trying to add more work to my plate here.
I really don't know what that means. Should we look it up on the internet?
No, because the internet's not going to know what that means.
I disagree. I'm looking it up on the internet right now.
I'm going to race you to it.
Yeah. How to snip sauerkraut in a jar. Life in the boat. We're going to go down a rabbit hole here.
I'm not finding anything.
Yeah, we're going to give up on this. This rabbit hole sucks.
We got hungry boys coming.
We got hungry boys to feed. We don't have time to talk about snipping sauerkraut. So basically, what we've ascertained is what you need to do is you need to open a can of sauerkraut and you need to drain it out. So just put it in a strainer or
save that sauerkraut water. I bet you someone in Wisconsin has a drink that starts with sauerkraut water.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't drain it into a container and save it. For other, nothing goes to waste in this house. So we use that for later. Use it as a nice brine, as a glaze for dessert.
Oh, Grandma's sauerkraut cake. Yeah, you're going to need that drained water for...
You joke, but it's one of the things I found in my quest for this soup.
Let's continue with these ingredients.
So you got to take the sauerkraut, you got to drain it.
Sure.
Once you drain the card, you got to snip it. So just take a scissors and just go at it.
Snip it up.
Just button up that sauerkraut with your scissors, with your kitchen scissors. After that, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of butter. Of course you are. 2 tablespoons isn't enough. So we've got milk, butter, and processed Swiss cheese and sauerkraut so far. Are you with me?
And a can of condensed celery soup.
We need 4 slices of rye bread. Now, here's the thing. They have this thing in the Northeast, in old New England, where you can get rye bread in a can. I think of all the recipes, I think the canned bread might be the perfect recipe, the perfect ingredient for this. So this says just 4 slices of rye bread. I think we should try it with 4 slices of canned rye bread. What do you think, Lilith?
I'm going to pass. You have hungry boys to feed. I'm not going to take food out of their mouths.
Now here, look at this next ingredient. 1 teaspoon, just a meager teaspoon.
1 teaspoon.
Of caraway seeds.
Oh, hold on. You said seeds. That recipe clearly says seed. So we're looking for a caraway seed that's about a teaspoon big.
One giant teaspoon-sized caraway seed. I don't think that's what they meant. There's some places that call it that on the jar, and they don't want you to get confused. It's like, oh, if you get caraway seeds, but you go to because you're not gonna find caraway seeds.
Oh, so you're going to the store. You're going to the store and you pick up the bottle. It says caraway seed, and you're like, "Well, I need caraway seeds.
I need more than one. Yeah. I can't just have this one caraway seed." So they don't want people to get confused by that. That's what I think it is. I mean, it's kind of even more confusing that it's not pluralized here, I think. But, like, who am I to say? I think a smart mom can make the connection. It's caraway seeds.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find those in your neighborhood pick and save. You might have to go to, like, Whole Foods maybe even. That might be require a trip to the fancy Whole Foods there.
Something that's not going to require a trip to a fancy store is our next ingredient, which is a can of corned beef. A can.
Do not get corned beef. Don't go to your deli.
No.
Don't go to your deli and ask for 3/4 pound corned beef.
That would be if you were making a sandwich, yes. Get that sliced corned beef. We're making a soup. We need a 12-ounce can.
We need a can. Beef. And don't drain this. Just keep that juice in there.
Do not.
But make sure it's chilled. But dice it up. Dice up that can of corned beef. Keep the juice. Those are our ingredients. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ingredients. Solid number. That's a reasonable number. I think any ingredients under 10 is good for your hungry boys. So let's move on to the instructions. In a saucepan, you stir the milk into the celery soup and shredded cheese.
Sure.
Add the snipped sauerkraut. Cover and simmer for 15 minutes. I kind of feel like they should be divided up, and that should be 2 separate instructions, don't you? And the question I have is, are you supposed to have the saucepan on? Like, are you supposed to heat the saucepan? It says cover and simmer, but that means you have to bring it in order to simmer something, you have to bring it to a boil, or just under a boil.
Also, you know what else that bothers me? Is it like mostly
that we need to use heat here?
Right. It would say like on low heat or on medium heat or on high heat. It's just like,
well, it just says simmer, which.
Oh man, I'm going to tell you right now. You're making a recipe that is canned cream of celery soup, canned meat, and processed cheese.
Canned bread.
Just get it hot. Just get the shit hot.
Just cook it. Just get it hot.
Get it warm, yeah.
But for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Add all those together.
Yeah.
Mix up the celery soup and the cheese.
Yeah.
And then add it. So, I'd say, you can have it on, the heat on, while you're mixing them all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. And do that for 15 minutes at a simmer.
Yeah.
Then, meanwhile, while it's simmering,
sure,
you can spread the butter over both sides of the rye bread and sprinkle both sides with caraway seeds.
Over both sides? That's just a mess waiting to happen.
Yeah, how are you what are you going to do with that? How are you going to... How?
Let's go to the next step and see if it tells us what to do.
No, I think what you got to do is you got to stand the bread up.
Yeah.
So you gotta get your rye bread. You got your can of rye bread, right? This is going to be a problem because it's round. So you can't slice the bread with the round way. You got to slice it long ways, or tall, like you slice a pepper.
Yeah.
And you got to do it like that. And then you got to stand the bread up, and you got butter each side, sprinkle with caraway seeds, and then stand it up, because otherwise
you're going to get butter everywhere.
Literally butter side down.
It's impossible to put it any other way.
How can you do it? What other way is so butter both sides of the bread and sprinkle both sides of the bread with caraway seeds for your Reuben soup.
Then after you've done all this, then you got to cut the bread into triangles.
After it's buttered on both sides.
Yeah.
So you're just making a mess.
You're just making a mess right now. Yeah.
It's just a big mess here. I don't know about this. This isn't real. This doesn't seem so easy to me. This is pretty fucking impractical. Cut the bread slices into triangles and place on a baking sheet. Then toast in 300-degree oven for 20 minutes.
Apparently in the 70s they didn't have, editors. They're like, eventually one day it was like, you know what? We should have someone go over this shit before we print it. And they're like, yeah, maybe we should. Anyway, 20 minutes later, you open up your oven. 20 minutes.
Step 5, add diced corned beef to soup. Heat about 10 minutes or till heated through. Serve toast triangles with soup. So the oven's going to make toast. That's why you buttered it on both sides and added the caraway seeds. So we're having canned bread and toast with heated up canned corned beef and sauerkraut and cheese and processed cheese and milk.
This is a lot for me. And just so you know, so I looked up canned corned beef. It's essentially spam. Yeah. So imagine like slurping a block of meat out of a spam can, dicing it up, and then throwing it into celery soup.
It's not quite spam. It's beef.
It's that can, and then when you plop it out, it's that consistency.
It's canned. It's potted meat. Yeah. That's what makes it easy. Don't use deli meat for this. Don't use deli meat. Don't use actual Swiss cheese. It's got to be processed Swiss cheese and canned corned beef. That's how this works.
And our special thing, get that canned B&M brown bread.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the secret. That's your secret weapon right there. A nice can of.
Is there a photo next?
And here we have it. Here's our delicious final product there. Look at that right there.
I mean, let's be honest. Good. If no one told you what was in it, you'd be like, oh, it's like a cream soup.
Yeah.
Maybe like, so what is this, like a chowder or something? Well, it's a cream of celery soup with processed meat hunks.
That's what this photo is. It's like, okay, look at, so like if you analyze those chunks, which that could be the sauerkraut, but the sauerkraut's like one of these kind of brown dark things speckled throughout. Like there's none of that in here. Sauerkraut. Bear in mind, like I'm gonna go back to the ingredients for a second.
There are no seasonings in this.
That's what I was going to say.
No seasoning.
Not a single seasoning.
Not a single
seasoning.
Nothing.
No salt, no pepper. Like not even salt and pepper. Because I mean, in all fairness, there's going to be plenty of salt in the cheese in the front and the can.
And that corned beef.
Corned beef. There's no shortage of salt in this recipe. I'm gonna guess the canned bread's got a little salt too. In all fairness, we changed it to canned bread.
We did,
we thought it would be appropriate. But you can get regular. See, that's the thing, is you can get fancy rye bread for this recipe. So you're gonna get this really nice. You're gonna go to like a proper Jewish deli, and you're gonna get fresh baked rye bread, maybe even a pumpernickel,
But while you're there, one thing you're not going to get is fresh slices of corned beef.
Don't get the corned beef. You can get the bread. You can go to the deli, get to the bakery, get a nice fresh loaf of Jewish rye, and then do not buy corned beef because that's got to come from a can.
Ugh. But so when you're looking at the picture, I think because sauerkraut has caraway seeds in it as well, so I think that might be from the sauerkraut.
Does it?
I think so.
I don't remember seeing caraway seeds in sauerkraut. Yeah. I think it depends. I mean, it depends on the sauerkraut, but most of the stuff that you can get the sauerkraut. There's different ways to get sauerkraut. There's cans. There's canned sauerkraut. I think we are using canned. Did it say canned for this one?
I mean, girl. Everything in this recipe is canned. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a can of sauerkraut. So, like, I don't think there's caraway seeds in a can of sauerkraut. I don't know. I remember, like, my life's recollection of sauerkraut is it's a pretty consistent color. There's no dark specks in a can of sauerkraut. It's that consistent, like, beige.
I'm too profoundly disturbed to have an opinion on this right
foods.
now. I mean, it looks like wet old cabbage, which is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love sauerkraut, to be honest.
I do too.
I love canned sauerkraut. It's delicious. But this whole thing, no, not a single spice in here.
Ugh.
What is it? Like I said, I am not sold that this is what this soup is going to look like. I really don't think.
don't think so.
No, the corned beef. The corned beef has stuff in it. That's what all that stuff is. The chunks. So that makes sense. That makes sense.
What are the little black things that look like?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is that? Maybe
that's not from the meat.
It's gotta be. It's the only place it could come from.
You know, the only way to really answer this,
your milk's got that, or celery. Maybe the can of celery soup.
The only way to answer this is to make it ourselves.
I know. That's the only way to know.
I'm not going to make it myself.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us. If you do make this for your hungry boys, drop in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you have answers to maybe what those black specks were, if you have substitutions, what's your favorite condensed celery soup? What's your favorite corned beef?
What brand of celery soup would you use?
What brand would you use? Maybe you're bold and you decide to make this with non-processed Swiss cheese that you shredded yourself. Let us know.
Oh, I don't want to hear about that. If you did that, I don't want to hear from you.
Oh, I want to hear all about it. I want to hear everyone's.
Destroy the sanctity of this.
If this show,
1978 recipe for Better Homes and Gardens.
If this show sends anyone on a culinary adventure, I want to hear about it.
I mean, that is true.
Yeah.
That is the whole point here. It's like, let's fucking find out.
Let's find out. Ugh.
Thank you for watching Culinary Delights with Lilith and Amanda, part of LA Comedy Inc. A subsidiary.
A subsidiary.
Of our umbrella. A subsidiary? A subsidiary.
A subsidiary.
Of our umbrella company?
Yeah, our umbrella company. Our Cayman Island
Shell
Corporation.
Company.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. LA Comedy, a division of Halliburton Industries.
Oh, would we be so lucky?
I mean, that's where we get all the canned corned beef from. Jeez.
Is that what Halliburton does?
I mean, honestly, we're less making fun of the 70s and more
what we're corned beef and invading countries.
This is less making fun of the 70s and more
you
need to let me finish my sentences. Now I'm not even going to say anymore. Never mind. That's the end of the show.
Dick Cheney's job was overseeing the quality of the canned corned beef.
You ever smell the man? He smelled the corned beef.
He was fit to be vice president.
Yeah. The man fed people on corned beef in a can.
Corned beef quality control. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Bye.